Hey there, it's Nikki from Design Delights, and today I'm going to let you watch me make Bingo from Bluey. I've already got Bluey made, and she's got a little three-dimensionality, even though she's still got that 2D look. So now we're going to make her sister, Bingo, and I start with a ball of Rice Krispie for stability, because that's what I do, and cover it in that base coat. And now I'm making my lighter color, and I'm going to use just a regular old oval cutter, and get her belly ready and use a little water edible glue, whichever you like, and attach it to the body. And I use my silicone tool to kind of soften the edges and make it look, cohesive with the body. Now I'm rolling out this snake, and when it's nice and even, we're going to start working on the legs. And I always make them longer to start, and then you can trim off later. But making the bottom sides a little bit wider by pushing it down into the table, and then using the Dresden tool to create the ankle and that little crease. Attaching a strip of the lighter color to make the lighter color around the foot. And then you'll see me use my fingers and that silicone and Dresden tool to flatten the edges as needed. And then I'm going to come in with the X-Acto knife to cut the indents for the toes. And then use a very small silicone tool to round out and soften the edges between the toes. Give them that round shape. So now I'm going to take the toothpicks and add them to the legs and use a little bit of edible glue to attach them to the body. And while they're drying, I'm going to lay a straw underneath the legs so they don't sag too much. And sugar paste doesn't take too long to dry, so it won't be there too long. But now I got the teardrop cutter to create that space between her eyes. That's the same color as her belly. And get it ready for the next color that I'm making right here. That's a little bit darker. And I did use some of the base color to create this because it's in the same color house, right? The same part of the color wheel. So we want it to look similar. But I'm just kind of eyeballing the next shape, and I trim it a couple times before I add it. But because the sugar paste isn't completely dry yet, I'm able to use my silicone tool and my fingers to kind of flatten the back as I wrapped it around the head and I shaped it. And then I go in to make the eyes with a small oval tool, and then use my fingers to kind of shape it how I like, and flatten it, smooth it, all the same things we've been doing. So a very small ball tool, and I'm going to move it back and forth to create an oval for the pupils, and a very small piece of black fondant for those pupils. Make sure that they are the same size, right? Now for this part, I'm going to use a black edible marker to go around her eyes. You can use a black piece of fondant if you want. I just thought it was easier to use a marker. It was faster. And if you mess up, you can always use a paintbrush, a very small one, with a dab of water, and it works kind of like an eraser, while the ink is drying. Okay, so next I'm going to make the snout, and this is the trickiest part, right? You'll see first I'm going to go in and I trim up her belly twice, just to give it room for the snout. But here's the thing, for me, I wanted the characters to look like they do in the cartoon with that 2D look, but I also wanted them to not be flat on the cake. So my goal was to create them looking three-dimensional, but still looking the right way. So creating those snouts off to the side, it took me a second, and I feel like I did Bingo better than Bluey. But the side the nose is on, it's a lot thicker, and then it kind of goes down, but it's almost like a kidney bean shape, but like flat on the bottom. But anyway, I just kind of eyeballed it, looked at a picture I have off to the side, and then used that silicone tool and Dresden tool to create the smile, and then soften the edges. Ears, super easy. We already got the colors made, so just use a triangle, size it correctly, and attach with glue. If you need a small piece of floral wire to attach, you can use that. And then the eyebrows are super easy too. Just a tiny piece of fondant rolled out and curled upward. Next, the hands. I've always had trouble with hands, but I've gotten a lot better at them. I just made a little ball, and then you take the ball tool and create the palm, and then use an X-Acto knife to cut the fingers and round out the fingers with the silicone tool. There's some detailed tutorials out there on how to make hands, but I think it's very important when you make hands to get the curvature of the palm correct, for it to look realistic. So like even on this hand I'm working on, you'll see that I face her fingers inward. The last thing I'm gonna do is create her tail from some leftover fondant I got laying on the table there. And all I do is I just shape it and glue it to the back side of her body and let it dry alongside with the rest of her for a day or two. And there you have it. There's Bluey and Bingo ready for a cake. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.